I'm just thinking about Imminence Front being a band. They're coming and taking your land right there. It's like
Imminence Front.
80s.
Is that a group?
No, Eminence Front. That's a song.
Imminence Front. Oh, it's a song?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm unfamiliar.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hackurate podcast. This is episode 12. I'm Nathan Goodman.
Hi, I'm Aaron Howell.
We're here.
We're here.
It's nice and cool outside. We finally hit fall in Arizona.
I've used the hot tub a couple times recently. It's been pretty
Drive
nice.
around with my windows down and don't evaporate my eyeballs.
Yeah.
Evaporate the liquid straight out.
Right.
Sometimes get a small little dust storm from passing dust storms in there. No, I'm just kidding. I always roll up the windows.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we're getting less of the, temperature variation goosebumps. That's always kind of weird.
I don't hate those.
I mean, I don't like...
Make me feel like I'm alive.
But it's just bizarre, when it's most...
Reminds me to take a big deep breath of hot air.
Yeah. It's definitely a nose-breathing climate.
Yeah.
Whenever that's happening.
But it gets me going, though.
It's good, though.
Clear your throat straight into the mic.
I'll do it again.
Brutal. Don't do that. So anyway, we're sitting here watching Matrix Reloaded on mute, so we don't get super distracted.
Yeah.
trying again with a movie in the background.
Yeah.
I think it'll work better.
What did we do it with last time? Dune, I think. Did we do
Something.
it with anything else? We definitely, maybe a Jurassic Park.
I remember there being a butt
definitely
shot
Dune.
that distracted us. That was particular.
Oh, yeah, it was...
And we were both just like, what?
What were we watching? See, it's distracted us now. We don't even know
we
what
don't
it
even
was.
remember what it was.
Talk about tea. That's crazy.
Tea is in gossip. Tea is in testosterone.
And
testosterone
I'm more of a
front.
coffee guy. But can't do without that tea.
Mortal Coffee. Mortal Coffee 4. Testosterone edition.
It's still just fighting.
Right.
It's just fighting in coffee shops.
Yeah, it's just fighting at random inconvenience places. Subway fighting, coffee shop fighting, in traffic while people are still trying to go around you.
Really, it can happen anywhere. It's just the tea.
I think that sounds
All
fun,
you
getting
need is
thrown into
tea.
cars. I think there was a Tekken map where you could get thrown into cars.
Sounds pretty good. I remember watching one of my cousins play one of the Mortal Kombats quite a few iterations ago, where they had more interactive levels where you could, like, some levels would have
break.
3 or 4 platforms
For
and
sure.
you'd go around,
Go up and
move
down
around,
or
there are
through.
lots of different
break.
traps, and I kind of wish that model still existed within the Mortal Kombat, because we've played a lot of 11 and that's been really fun, but it just lacks that quality, and I would very much like that.
We didn't play the DC one a lot, but that one you could loop. It would, like, some of the stages had like 3 stages where you'd get like knocked out of one area, knocked into a third area, and then something would knock you back into like the first area.
Well, that's cool.
That might happen, yeah.
Damn.
It's pretty fun.
But that one
sucked.
It was especially because we went on to it after playing.
The controls were trash.
11 like intensively.
Yeah.
So we were just like, the lag. There's too much lag.
I remember how much
the combos were not smooth.
Well, yeah, I played it a lot with my dad and little brother, and I definitely feel like we were just super powering at each other. There wasn't a lot of like technique going on.
Oh yeah,
not like Dead or Alive where you could counter and shit. That was fun. Actually counter, press back things.
I've never played Dead or Alive.
Man, talk about a technical fighting game where if you could counter, it was pointless to even fight. You just be like, I'll throw a mid punch, and they're like, counter, break your arm. Like, I'll throw a low kick, and they're like, counter, grab your leg. Like, anything you can do, it just doesn't work. Dang. But that was me for like 1 minute.
Nice.
And I was like, this isn't fun anymore. It's not.
Because you were just like dominating.
Yeah, I was just beating my dad and little brother. There's nobody else. Can't play online. Everybody's latency in fighting games is the worst. So it's pointless.
I know. It's like the one thing about fighting games that really, really sucks is trying to play with anyone online, because
it has to be perfect.
It's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
And it's just not
Internet
worth it.
connection,
It's much better for couch v, side
Right.
v side.
Couch doing.
Yeah.
Which sucks because there's sometimes games of stuff that you can only do through like ranking and whatnot, but whatever.
Yeah.
Got into that a little bit with some of the like anime fighting games where I was like playing that a lot when I was like I don't know, living with Chase, and a little bit before that,
Yeah.
I would just play a lot of like Naruto online fighting game, and it was good if people had good internet connections, because then you could actually like use your techniques that you used. But
Yeah.
people had bad internet connections, they're just throwing big moves, and you're like, well, I would move, but I can't
Yeah.
because the internet connection is not letting me. What is even the point of this?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how I felt about that. Fucking I swore the first 10 minutes. Too late. That arena-based fighting game on the Xbox, the Chinese one, the Naraka. It was like
Yeah.
you could tell when somebody was a desktop player, because they're just like moving around like liquid, and you're like, well, I'm running. I'm running and everything's smooth, but this person over here is like doing all kinds of crazy movements, and I'm not on a keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, keyboards pretty much dominate, and unfortunately, with cross-platforming, having keyboards as part of that definitely puts people at an advantage, which does suck because it really limits the ability for like an even playing field, really.
Right. Some games
Which
you can turn.
sucks.
Some games you can turn it off, but
Yeah, I mean,
then you have a smaller
ideally you would
lobby.
like that. Yeah, but I'm of the mind
It's nice
that
in like
there
shooters.
needs to be having cross-platform.
Yeah, because it's like a little bit more grounded. A little bit. Just you can just shoot them. They're not like doing some wacky shit. They're just jumping or running or sliding. They're not like doing crazy nonsense acrobatics. No, with keyboards even.
With keyboards?
It's like not as bad, I would think, in more grounded games.
I would disagree.
Oh, well,
I mean, it does depend on game mechanics, but like when you have the flexibility of being able to utilize multiple buttons and have more buttons, ultimately, it makes it easier. Because like when you have one controller, as opposed to maybe having to hold a button versus press a button, just if you had just two separate buttons, it's easier.
Yeah,
and there's less of a chance of the game misregistering what you're doing.
Oh yeah,
so
that makes sense too.
And having gone from playing so much Battlefield to now playing about 110 hours of Starfield, and there's a lot of combat in Starfield too, and like I'm pretty fluid in that already now too, and it's interesting just to see like where the limitations lie, and it's always with having to press a lot of buttons.
Oh yeah,
and press one button multiple times to navigate a quick, even your quick list of like weapons or powers. You have to use the D-pad to go up 3, left or right 3, or down 3 to select one of those gears or powers or whatever.
Yeah,
and so it's
very limiting. Gotta move quick.
Yeah. And so that's
make those space decisions.
But see, thankfully, that's where they slow down time when you enter that window, but it doesn't stop it. Like it slows down for like I don't know, it's probably a third of the speed, because I've definitely been in front of somebody and been like hit several times by rounds because I'm just like, oh shit, I'm trying to select the best tool for the job. So it's ultimately about getting better at that too, and just knowing what I need.
Right.
But keyboard. Like if I had a keyboard, it'd be a whole other situation.
Right. Yeah. Do they still do those lame little tiny ones that make your controller like a block that you attach to the bottom? I don't think they still make those. I remember them being on the 360. You get a little text keyboard put at the bottom of your clip-in fucking little accessories.
I don't know if they make those for these
clip a
versions
dildo
of
on the other
controllers.
end. Clip some vibrating
But
features.
if you look at the bottom, they have those like plug-in slots, and I've never had a device for them, but I imagine they have the keyboard still. That would make sense. I don't know what else you'd put there.
Right. Probably wouldn't be faster than just using your D-pad though, because you're not on a console.
I guess they have the charging ports. Those might plug in there, but maybe those also go on the back. I don't know. I guess when it comes to like hardware for Xboxes, I'm very inexperienced, because I rarely
get some batteries.
Go beyond like batteries, a controller, Xbox headset. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
What do you need? You don't need all this other stuff.
That's all I need to wreck people's shit.
I mean, it's only recently I've actually had controllers break. I mean, we had that one that was drifting real bad, and then I remember playing Smash at a friend's house right when COVID started, and definitely, I'm pretty sure it was either like a GameCube controller or just an old controller, but I definitely broke the fucking one of the joysticks was just like, yeah, I'm done. I give up. And I was just like, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
It probably was a little bit. I
Well,
mean, I was going really
it's-
hard on those controllers. I got to win.
But when you think about the amount of movements you're doing in an average play session, it's just like the amount of
yeah, it's a lot.
inputs. Like they're pretty durable.
Yeah, they
Like,
go
good
for a
controllers
long
last
time,
forever.
for sure.
So eventually they're gonna fail, and that's just a matter of time.
Right. It's like an upside down turtle.
It's like you're sitting on a chair and it breaking. Like it might not have been you. It just might have happened to have been you.
Right. It's
you
like, I
know?
can't believe my dick can take that much punishment. But it's
Yeah.
the controller.
Mm.
It's still going strong after all these years. Getting fingered and thumbed,
Yeah, I see.
turned and joysticked, moved all around.
No, I get it. I'm familiar with the process.
Down, over, all the time. Talking about my dick now. Going back and forth.
I played a lot of flight simulators when I was
Guess
a kid.
this hand motion, controller or dick motion. Nope, that was a dick motion.
I was thinking, I was just like, I don't think there's much of a difference in either. Again, having played many a joystick game in my youth.
Yeah, it's generally
Just played
similar.
Flight simulators or
Yeah.
like any sort of ship like type simulator thing. There's a game called I'm sure I've mentioned it to you before at some point. Probably it's been a while. Called Terminal Velocity. It was really cool, and it was just a spaceship, and you go to different bases and different worlds, and like the goal is like you fly to a base while you're getting attacked by smaller flying like different like ship gagoos, and then you find like a boss and you fly around it, defeat it. And it was like 90s, so it was 3-dimensional
Sounds
but low
mean.
graphics,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
low res. It's pretty cool.
Like only slightly better than the standard game that came in there with the,
This was for PC. This was
that's what I'm saying. You know that game with the ball and
talking
the
about Pong.
on the both sides.
Pong.
It's in the arcades.
Pong?
No, I'm not talking about
What are you
Pong.
talking
With
about?
the buttons on the both
It
sides.
sounds like you're talking about.
They're in
Pong.
arcades with the with the little bumpers, and it goes ka and you hit it.
Oh,
little buttons on-
pinball.
Yeah, pinball. So it kind of looks like the pinball on every computer, the space pinball.
No, it was better than that.
No.
I mean, it was again 3-dimensional.
Well, now I'm not
Like,
interested.
that
game
was just an early flight game.
Had little balls rolled around.
This was you were translating through 3-dimensional space. This was you were flying around, and this is 90s. It was good.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I was too
There's
busy
also
playing.
Jane's Fighter Anthology.
I was too busy playing educational games on loop on the computer. 'Cause
I'd
it was an
also-
excuse to play games on the computer.
Oh yeah,
Putt goes to the moon.
King of the Hill Putt. That was one.
What's the one?
Do you ever go to those other websites with? Oh yeah, we've talked about flash game websites.
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Stick figure ones. Those
Yeah.
are good.
I played a weird amount of like the little car build ones where you like go up and down and then they just break and shatter and you're like, oh, I gotta get bigger wheels. Or just dumb flash game stuff.
Like gravity based, like
No, some of them more like
ragdoll stuff.
just dumb, like do a little race, get money, buy a new thing. Oops, that was loud. I don't know. Flash games. It was just simple and
Flash games are great.
took up time and gave you something to do when you were done class.
Right.
Before somebody came up and asked you
When
for
you're
help
just hanging
because
out
they're
'cause
behind.
You're not hanging out with friends.
And you're like, I don't want to
It's
help
like,
you. I want to play these flash games. But you
Right.
do it anyway because they help out when they're being mean to you and somebody else is being mean to you and they're across the room and they look at them and they're just like, hey, stop being mean to that guy.
And then you learn how to.
All the
become-
Nirvana wearing
you-
shirt guys were very mean to me in classes. So I made friends with all the black dudes in my college or in my high school setting. I don't know why,
Right.
but
Well, and you get this weird sense.
not Nirvana. It was one of the other black T-shirts. Not Guns N' Roses. Led Zeppelin. Yeah. All those dudes in high
They
school
all
wore
have
Led
black
Zeppelin.
T-shirts, Metallica.
I know, but
Guns N' Roses.
they all wore Led Zeppelin shirts for like a while.
Black Sabbath.
And they were all douchebags because all of their parents beat them. And I was like, my parents don't beat me, but we have other problems. So I'm capable of stepping outside myself and not just deflecting on the next closest white guy, not in a Led Zeppelin T-shirt. So I made
can't-
friends with the other kids.
I can't say I don't know how you feel. Definitely understand the whole trying to step outside the box and
Yeah.
be like, I don't want to be this T-controlled ape man
Yeah.
all the time. I just
Yeah.
want to be a dude that can chill.
I mean, I didn't
Get
even think
along
it
with
was about
people.
that. There was so much stuff going on in my school. I was like, is anybody here even like doing dating stuff? Like, I wish my Georgia high school was more normal. And I was like, I wish you guys were just competing for girls. But you're all just sitting around being mean and angry because we're all
that is what that is.
Southern
Though,
trash.
Isn't that? Like that's at least that's what I saw. Like a lot of the time was people would just like throw people under the bus if there were any like ladies around.
Yeah.
If you're like hanging out in like a group of guys, and you're just like, all right, well, I'm glad this is happening again. I'm glad we can't just all just like chill and be cool.
I saw that. I've seen that a lot more later in life. I didn't see that as much in early high school.
I mean, I saw that,
but
I feel like
strokes.
throughout. But I also wasn't like a stellar dating individual in high school.
Right.
Like I was not a great boyfriend. So
I definitely I stole the first serious girlfriend I stole from another guy because he was short.
Yeah.
And rude. But also I was like, this guy's short. I could beat him up. And everybody else was like, this guy just got here from Atlanta. We're in Knoxville. We're afraid he might beat this kid up. That's not really what was happening. I was just like, you should dump your short boyfriend. He's lame. Come on, do it. It's fine. Just do it. Pass notes. Like, just do it. It's like, you were already passing notes. We're basically there. Just give it up. Just give it up. Why stay in a high school relationship for longer than fucking 6 months or a year? Come on. You're wasting your years in high school.
Feels like
mix it up. Do something. Especially if it goes sour. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you're hanging out in a sour.
Who's playing that much
weird...
three-dimensional chess in high school though?
I don't know. This was white kid school by the time I got to Tennessee. So I was like, man, you guys have so much flexibility to do things. There's not fights in the hallway every day. I'm gonna find myself some ladies. I got time now.
That is true. I think I feel like it was like
it's like the guy in Twilight Zone with the eyes or nobody left in the world, and he was like, I have time now. I can read all the books.
His glasses
and then
are
his
broken.
Eyes fall out.
No, his eyes
that's
don't
the Futurama version.
I was about to say, yeah. It's like that's
no,
not
his glasses
what
are broken. I know. And he's like, I had time now. I had time now.
And and the craziest part is that it's just like what his first instinct being a guy who's had glasses isn't to look for his glasses before he goes bumbling about and steps on them. Come on. You just there's a massive like because he's in a vault, there's an explosion, like he knows that shit's going down. You can't have the wherewithal to make sure whatever the cost, you don't destroy your ocular. I mean, it just seems like it would be habit, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, so I'm not buying.
It would definitely be. It would definitely be a real issue. I feel like. I mean, I feel like I'd rather be like slightly deaf in like an apocalyptic scenario than like mostly blind. Like I would have to hoard my glasses like they were gold. I'd have to wear 24-hour goggles, to be honest, just to be like, don't touch them.
You're telling me
without these, I'll probably be blind.
By the hit motion picture, The Book of Eli?
No.
You don't want to be
I'm especially
blind.
Uninspired by the hit motion picture.
Really? You've never mentioned it before.
I've never been more uninspired than I've ever been. My mind is now turned off. Goodbye, everybody. We're done. The Book of Eli is coming to play.
Nathan has mentioned at least 3 different times that I've known him how much he hates the Book of Eli.
One of our episodes is already slightly titled that.
Oh, so. Yeah, that's right. We've already talked about it, haven't we?
Oh, my God. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be able to find custom like contacts in the apocalypse. So literally just be like, oh, now I'm mostly handicapped. Might as well die.
But you can still like, hopefully
do close stuff.
You could hopefully scrounge up.
Be a shotgun guy.
Glasses though from different stores. That's what you'd want to hit.
No, they have to make them.
No, you just find the closest prescriptions to what you got. I'm talking about making do.
All right.
Post-apocalyptic, you hoard onto your main pair, but you got to make sure that pair lasts. So that pair you always like wrap up in whatever.
That's true.
Keep it
somewhere else. Yeah.
You keep it in the middle of your bag, like
right. Maybe don't even wear those until you need them.
Yeah. So you really gotta use those for like your reading, or if you gotta like, what if you have to make your improvised explosives in this post-apocalyptic world. You
What I'm
got to have
thinking,
your glasses.
what
for
I'm
that.
thinking is we'll just go into an eye doctor and sit in one of those chairs, do this one or this one, A or B or C or D until I'm there, and then just like break it off and take that with me. That way you have
That's not feasible.
that way I have impromptu glasses.
No, because all those lenses, I imagine, are connected within that like device. Like,
That doesn't matter. I mean, you just break it off the machine, the arm.
yeah, but
You
what?
take the machine.
What if you crack the lenses?
You break
then
it off
when
the
you're in
arm.
process?
You can be careful. You saw it. Do a little bit of
I wouldn't count on
WD-40.
I'm just saying, like you could try. I just wouldn't bank on that being a good long-term solution.
I'll have to email my eye doctor after this. Be like, hey, if I were to
Do you have an active eye doctor?
No, if I were to snap off your eye examination machine at the arm, could I carry it around?
Those
and could
things
it
are
substitute
huge.
just the machine part, the end? It's not that much. It's probably like 5 pounds. Be like a big helmet. That'd be Lord Helmet. Just watch Spaceballs. Spaceballs.
I don't think this would work. It's just not feasible.
You
Maybe
can't refute it.
as like, like a mount on a door, so if you need to look out and see people, but
Right.
I'm just not seeing.
I mean, it's better of a backup plan than
You got to travel
to
as light as you can.
make other glasses. It's not going to work.
Got to travel as light as you can.
That's already, it's strapped to your face. That's just a part of your character design now.
But that's weight on the body. It's all weight.
You take it off sometimes, but Mandalorian style.
But you also
just
don't have
keep it on.
doctors to see about your ruptured discs from carrying your massive
Right, from carrying a 10-pound helmet on the front of your face.
Right, and it's going to be off balance unless you find a way to counterbalance it with an even heavier.
Then you have a 20-pound Iron Mask style running around like man in the Iron Mask. I'm not unconvinced.
They say medieval
sounds better than the Book of
Eli. Pounds.
Rather watch an eyeglasses freak wander through the desert than
the guy with impeccable vision, but he looks like a freak. As opposed to
he's like, I can even see the future on these
blind
things.
Denzel.
I just got to go up to a 10 and a 1 on either sides. And I look down a hallway. Gives me future vision.
Imagine seeing
probably just give
an
you an aneurysm.
optometrist-faced Gagu looking at you down a dim hallway in a post-apocalyptic room. Like, that's creepy as fuck.
Right? Scary.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing.
Something you want to stumble across when you're looting a random house and you find a optometrist face.
Like, what are you doing? Looking into the future.
Creep.
Like blood coming down their nose. They're like, what are you doing? I'm looking in the future. It works. I'm telling you, it works.
And they're like, yeah. And
like, this isn't one of those.
Rob you at gunpoint.
Yeah, this isn't one of those post-apocalyptics. We don't suddenly have magic now.
No.
It's not happening.
It has to develop over thousands of years. Yeah. That's the sci-fi way.
Fuck that.
It's got to be a slow burn if you're going to get real magic. You got to develop it. It can't just spawn. Actually, that's not true.
It's still high fantasy.
Well, actually, maybe that's alien technology. There's a series called Dies the Fire. It's a book series written by S.M. Sterling, I believe. Sterling is definitely the last name. Anyways, but basically it's suddenly like there's like this massive flash over, I think, Nantucket or something. And then
suddenly aliens.
All of like combustion and like heat-based physics that powers machinery and like electronics and how electronics work.
So farts are off the table.
None of it works. No, farts work. But so basically all machinery, all electronics just stops working. But the closest thing you get to like any sort of answer, because now you're living in a post-electricity power society.
So obviously
is people just farts. Being like, hey, we collect... No.
Keep going.
Using farts.
Keep going.
What is it? So
it's a fart-powered train.
They just cobble together. They're just like, yeah, we don't know what happened, but some people say aliens. We don't. I guess we'll never really know. Something just happened, and then all of this, fissile material stopped being fissile. Steam-powered stuff doesn't work. Pressure, the laws of pressure seem to have changed.
Oh.
They don't know, but it's a medieval story in a post-apocalyptic world with post-apocalyptic materials, but
So it's that they've removed pressure from.
they removed the ability to use like steam, like pressure, the ability to use combustible ignition, like for ammunition, like that.
Why didn't you just write a medieval
Gunpowder
story?
doesn't
Why
combust
bother with all
anymore
this
because they
preamble?
wanted to have the materials from the knowledge of that they call it the change in the book series of that pre-medieval world. So they wanted to have the knowledge of like a different time that was then thrown back into brutality of like,
like a
you
lot
know,
of-
the feudal era. It's a really good series, and there's like I think there's like 18 books. The first 3 are like the original trilogy.
It's a lot.
And those are really good. I haven't read any of the others yet.
I feel like
I have a
I'm
couple,
hard
but-
pressed, at least when I was reading more, to get past 5. Like once I hit like a 5 in a book series, I'm
Yeah.
like, all right.
That's fair.
I'm not sure. Like I'm on.
It's got to be good.
The
It's
last
gotta
book
be
series
really
I
good.
read, I think I was on the 4th book, and I was like, if this doesn't end on this next book, I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't think he's planning to end it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not down. I read enough serialized things that I don't need to read a serialized novel. Like it's too much. And I mean that's how it used to be back in the day when that was the media.
Yeah.
Was just like, here's my 13th book of the same series, and you're like, that's
Right.
fine,
They're
but
like, how many Hank the cow dogs are there?
can't even handle. It's too many.
There's a lot of Redwall. There's like 20 plus, maybe 30 plus Redwall books.
I mean, even Dune. It's like,
Yeah.
stop reading the summaries after 5 or 6. I'm just like, what even does it matter anymore? At some point, you're just repeating
You gotta
yourself.
close the 5,000 year loop. You gotta close it.
You gotta like do something. Bring in some new characters. Do something new.
Gotta Dune something. Let's see. There's limited series, but then like you even have the fan fiction stuff like Star Wars, Star Trek, like all those other different multiple series. There's there's just the amount of books series is quite prevalent. I mean, The Expanse was the longest series I've read in a long time. Usually I've been capping at like trilogies and whatnot, except for the Alien books. But those are loosely connected sometimes. Like the stories are definitely generally like they'll mention or reference each other, but they don't all depend on those arcs necessarily all the time. Like some of them are independently canon, so to speak. They're just in the universe without affecting certain parts of the main story. Sometimes.
My feet smell.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like a good long series if it's good, but it's got to be engaging. It's probably because Harry Potter is probably the longest. That and Game of Thrones are probably the longest series that large society has really consumed. That's been more than a couple books. It's like Twilight. That was 3 or 4. Can't really think of any other book series there.
I don't think I ever watched the last
Hunger Games,
Twilight
but that was
movie.
like three books.
I don't think I ever watched either of the last 2 Twilight movies.
I haven't seen any of them.
Started to get really awful.
That's what I heard from fans of the movies, like people who didn't like them, and fans of the books also being like, yeah, they changed stuff, and the classic
Yeah, I mean
problems. But at the same time, we've watched those pitch meetings that also kind of
less that and more just
focus in on some details that
general
seem like they were bad.
being bad at like writing and finishing up a series, but you got to plan it out.
Yeah,
Some of these writers and the authors definitely don't plan it out because they want to get that serialized money, but really you need to like have a game plan. I mean, even with the Bleach thing, like we're gonna get stuff in the end of the new series that it's probably gonna be more than like was in the manga because he was told to like wrap it up. Like he was really dicking around too much when they were like, "You're done. Like you're not as popular anymore. Like Bleach needs to come to an end." They're like, "We're giving you this many months," and he was like, "Are you or aren't you?" And they're like, "We are." And he was like, "All right, I guess you're serious. Fuck, I gotta end this now." And then the fans are just like, "What? That's it? Why was just that it? That's crazy." So we're all hoping that it expands on some of the stuff. The fights are longer. I mean, they've already been a little bit longer.
The fights have been amazing so far.
Yeah. Visually pretty incredible.
The last few eps have been very, very much what I've come to love about Bleach is, whenever they have the fight scenes and it's minimal minimal talking with more actual like demonstration
Yeah.
of power.
Like beginning to end. Just
Yeah,
like action
because
scenes.
I know I've said this to you a million times, but I'm just the preamble's so annoying,
No,
so
for sure.
all the time. I'm just
100%.
like, give me the action, the
Yeah.
realistic flow, or at least a closer realistic flow of time.
For sure.
Like I like it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it sucks that like fan projects have to come out to be better. I mean, even like Dragon Ball Z made a second series to like summarize its original series. That's like half length, I think, because they just cut out a lot of like standing and screaming and standing and screaming.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, now we want them to do that to all of the old stuff, and they're just like, why? It's all great. Watch it. We don't care. We don't want to change it yet. We're never going to get we're getting some new One Piece stuff, but they're not going to redo the beginning until it's over. So it's like you can watch some updated animation of the older episodes, but it's not like shot for shot. And then there's also a project online has like all the episodes in like almost half length, just cutting out stuff. And it's like maybe taking the full series and cutting it down into like maybe half or a little bit more length.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot more consumable for people who don't want to watch like a ton of like 1,000 episodes of a thing. But my thing is like you got to get on a website and watch it on a player, and it's not as convenient to streaming anymore.
So be like, find for me and then consolidate a video.
Right? Just play it on my TV.
Show me a supercut of all the Bleach fights just back to back.
Play it on my TV.
Minimal story as necessary to maintain a plot format.
And cut out the YouTuber guy going, "Hey everybody."
Of course, no, it would auto
number 10 on this list.
The AI would already know that I don't want to see any of that. It's already been
number
with me.
7 on this list.
Yeah. So like and subscribe.
Don't say that. Can't make fun of that because we want people to like and subscribe.
Yeah, of course we do. Like and subscribe, but it doesn't mean we can't make fun of the machine from within. So like and subscribe, everybody. Hackurate Podcast, episode 12. We're still kicking. 12. I don't know what you're doing, but we're still here. So try and stop us. No, don't. But like and subscribe.
Try and stop us.
No, literally. Try
it. Come on, fight me.
Find me. Think Hackurate's the only name for a new podcast
Let's do it.
Come up with? But like and subscribe.
Call me Nathan Fight Him in the Streets Goodman.
Nathan Fight Him Goodman. I like that. That's pretty good. Or it almost sounds like a vitamin. Vitamin good.
I definitely thought somebody wasn't telling me.
Take your vitamins.
Definitely thought somebody wasn't telling me that John Goodman was actually related to us. I thought they were just keeping it to themselves when I was a child.
Oh, you thought they were hiding it?
Yeah. They were just like, why would we tell everybody because he's famous? He wouldn't tell us that.
He wouldn't admit to it.
Yeah, something. I don't know. And then I realized we would have known and they would have told me. And he's not related to us.
Right. I never figured
I can't think of any other famous Goodmans off the top of my head.
Maybe if you go back far enough, family tree-wise. But then that argument could be made for any human being. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm not going to do any.
You crack open.
I keep seeing an at-home ancestry test.
Who's Ann Hestry?
Ann Hesh. Ann Hesh. That's a person.
Is that a real name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ann Hesh was a serial killer.
It's not a bad person. Yep. I don't know. Maybe. Look it up.
I keep seeing ancestry tests at home.
Yeah.
At the Walgreens, and I'm like, how good could this be? Is it just like you pee on like a map and it just pops up like areas of where you are?
That would be incredible technology.
Oh no, Anne Hesh was an actress.
Okay, well that's good. Wait, did she do anything crazy? Let's see.
She was in 6 Days and 7 Nights.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. Supercell, a Volcano,
Psycho.
Psycho.
Okay. So what is that called?
Oh, she's
Disaster
dead.
movies. Oh, and didn't she die recently?
Rest in 2022.
Oh, that's why I've heard the name. Okay.
Rest in peace. And she has a movie out. 3 movies out this year.
Oh.
So yeah, rip Anne Hesh.
Posthumous.
Anne Hestry test. So you can find out if you're good in a scary movie, apparently, because it looks like her repertoire is scary movies
No, old and disaster movies.
and disaster movies. My friend Dahmer, come on.
Oh yeah, she really likes
Joyce Dahmer.
chaos
What the fuck?
there.
What's going on? Brave.
Maybe she was typecast. I
No,
don't
she
know.
was
I don't
Cherry
know this
Cream
person.
Soda Gal in Adventure Time. Nice.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Don't
and
know that
she
character
was,
either, but
a main character in Legends of Korra.
whoa. So yeah, she
Yeah.
got some work.
She was out.
Good work.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
I've definitely heard that.
That makes
name, right?
sense.
Well,
Now I see
Rip
your
Ann
face.
Hesh.
Yep.
Thanks for your name
Pour one out
providing
for ya.
some.
I'm gonna have to get an Aunt Hestry test
Comedy.
next time I'm at the Walgreens.
Right? See if you can collect on some of that money. That
Right, and see what's
reward
going
money.
on. I'd be like, "Hey, are we related? What's going on?"
You know,
Find out if I'm finally
start
related to
just-
John Goodman.
I just want to start asking people if they're going to collect on that reward money now, just for no reason, on whatever. Just go up to someone at work, be like, "Hey, you're going to collect that reward
Oh my
money,"
God.
and just see what they think.
Some
I'm
real
talking about.
NPC behavior, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, that's true. I have just been
That is kind of your
surrounded
a little
by
bit of your
NPCs
job.
recently. Oh, I mean, well, yeah. My job is to be
Hello,
an NPC within
ladies
the
and
context
gentlemen.
of my work.
Would you like a drink?
Hello,
Bring you
my
one
good nobles.
in this Stein, would you like a boot? Not a plastic cup.
We don't
I'm not
sell
allowed
boots.
to sell the plastic cup. What?
What?
It's
That's not
a
true.
horn. It's a horn, but I mean, you could maybe wear it as a
No,
boot.
you
I
wanna
just
sell the
forget
horn.
it's a boot.
But yeah,
it's not
no,
a boot.
it's not a boot.
It's a horn.
It's a horn.
You could
Sell
put
a
a
horn.
heel on it and then squeeze your foot in it,
No, you couldn't.
and then it would be a boot.
Unless you had wrapped feet as a child.
And then you could get the boot cup from the Texas Roadhouse places, and then wear two
The horn would not
special
work
cups.
as a boot. A peg leg.
There you go.
Medieval
Peg leg.
leg. It's
That'd be a
just
neat peg leg.
horn.
Where are they getting all these horns? Your medieval village, anyway. What are they importing? Are they just contributing to the hunting of the?
Well,
The
not
exotic-
not only the hunting, but the slow extinction
Yeah,
of bulls.
I guess they could just be bull horns. I was thinking about.
Well, yeah, but how many bulls are
images
in a,
of
in a
feathered
herd?
rhinos.
Got a lot of ladies per herd per bull, right? Isn't that how cows work?
More like steers.
Things with horns. I don't ungulates of different varieties.
Bulls don't have huge horns; they're little.
I don't know anything about
Steers
bulls.
have those big ones, right?
I think so. Longhorns.
I guess you could just take those naturally. It doesn't
those-
seem so bad.
I mean, maybe you can saw them off without hurting them. I don't know.
Got a sawed-off shot horn.
Yeah.
Pour in the grains and pour in the bullet, and then it explodes. It's only good for like 3 uses.
Ooh, but that gave me an idea. Maybe if I'm trying to think of ways that I could make my personal presentation style when I'm doing my job more entertaining. So coming up with like my own just playful terms for things that don't actually have names. Like if someone's just like, you just gave me the idea for a shot horn.
Yeah.
Find out what drinks would I put in something that then call it sawed off shot horn. So it'd have to be a shot based drink,
Right.
Be like
margarita.
I can do
It's a salt off margarita horn.
But we don't have salt because
It's a salt off.
yeah. Oh yeah, nice. A salt off shot. So it'd have to be like a shot with just like a float like splash of like some margarita, frozen margarita mix.
Right. That sounds good.
Sawed off shot horn. But
And the margarita mix isn't liquored until you do it, right? Until you liquor it, you can just drink it. It's just icy, right?
correct. I
Yeah.
do want to make sure though I'm not spilling too much I don't think that counts as proprietary
well.
information, but I just can't go into details about specifics.
All I'm trying to say is it would be hard to not just take little shots of that the entire shift and just be like little tiny bit of delicious strawberry stuff for me, a little bit of stirred up
I mean,
smoothie
realistically,
for me, a little mango.
you probably could if it was inventoried out, but I mean that's not something that I would recommend.
No, I was doing I was doing it with chocolate a lot at the fair, but That's just because it's spilled.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this is a different type of operation.
right. I want a
So
midday
I've signed
bakery
a very
job. I've been
specific
looking for
contract
those.
to
I'm
do
trying to find
well at my job.
a midday. I'm looking around for a midday bakery job. I'm like, let me cook bakery goods in the middle of the
Go
day.
to maybe not middle of the day.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
can do an early morning bakery.
They're all so early.
You might have to sacrifice
Maybe
the
I need
time.
to hit up a Bosa Donuts and be like,
Right.
can I work mid shift or third shift or
Right.
fourth shift?
Or you could go to some of these ice cream shops. They have midday, evening shifts. Ice cream probably wouldn't be too far off. And actually, you wouldn't be dealing with the flour aspect at all.
Yeah,
It'd just be
yeah.
colder. But
Yeah,
you're also in Arizona, so colder might be better.
Yeah,
to
I've
work
been
in
thinking
the
about that, or maybe one of the like bowl places. I did
Yeah.
see one guy at Crumble, so I was like, "Whoa, there's one man who works at this cookie place, and they'd cook like throughout the day, so that might be
We
fun."
work with a bunch of ladies. That'd be
Well,
fun.
yeah, I just
Hey, no,
I've had that in my life several times.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Like,
and so sometimes I just want to be like, I don't want to be the weirdo applying at the one like bakery in the city that's all women and some of them look young.
Like, for someone who
Gotta see
also
other men.
enjoys being able to like be in a place where I can work with people, but also get along, but also not be competing with each other,
Oh, yeah.
sexually, because
Right.
that's the problem with working with a lot of guys is that if there's like any ladies, no matter what, a couple of those dudes are going to end up being like,
Right.
whatever types of show offy. And honestly,
even if you're not doing anything at all and you're just trying to work your dang job,
and you'll be brought into it, and so it's just like I don't want to deal with that sort of weak, insecure shit because I have my own insecurities, but that's not specifically one of them.
Right.
And when I'm trying to work, I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
It's just like I don't want to deal with another guy's like whatever, like his competitiveness. When I'm just like, I'm trying to make food.
Yeah.
It's most
trying to be there and make
jobs have
food.
been
I want to
food-based,
accidentally
so it's like, I'm trying to do this.
I don't want to get a laugh from the wrong girl, and this guy hates me for like a week just because I said something, and she was like, "Ha," and then he's like, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "Why?
Right,
do
you
even care?
make a
Go
lady
away."
laugh, and then like every dude who like is trying to like impress her around you is suddenly just like
mean to you for like
starts like buzzing.
Yep, exactly.
Like a fucking hornet. And you're just like,
they're crazy.
Chill, dude.
Chill out.
Right.
It doesn't even matter that much.
Right. And you know what?
You only have so many days in your life.
It's like you think about it long form. It's just like what is your ultimate success? You impress, or I imagine get to sleep with this person, and then what? What's your long-term
impress
goal?
or depress? Those are
Both,
the only two
right?
things that are going to happen. You're going to get one or the other.
One
you
or
know
the
what?
other.
It's better to just do neither.
But what I'm saying is
Buddhism,
also just like if
zero is still a net positive.
Yeah.
Because it's not negative. Doing nothing is sometimes better than doing something. Sometimes. So if you're having an emotional reaction, just don't.
If I may expand on that, it sounds like you're saying the better thing in a lot of cases is to just like not engage because it really is a waste of time in the grand scheme of.
Yeah. I thought what I said sounded simpler than what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe it was. I thought I had a different way of putting it, but then it kind of like fell apart in my brain. Sorry.
It's okay. That's funny.
That's funny. But yeah, no, like what you're saying does make sense, and yeah, like it's not a big deal,
right? I mean, I feel like,
and that's the hard part with like it complicates trying to just like be cool with or like even be friends with the people you work with. Because if you're friends with dudes who like can't handle being around women, but also not, they can't curb that male competitiveness,
right?
Like, then it's just like, well, I'm not going to be around you. I'm not going to try and be your friend because you ruin it every time because your insecurities make you try to compete with me, even though in a lot of those cases, I'm not even trying to compete with these people because my pool of interest with people, I find a lot of people attractive, but I know most people are not my type, and it's just not. So I rarely have a deep interest in trying to pursue most people.
Right.
And plus, it's just like annoying when people are just like, when you
get all caught up in like workplace things. It's just takes a lot of time away from just being there and dealing with the shittiness that is work.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand like
Why
getting
make it
wrapped up in
harder?
some drama, like it's kind of fun, but it's
Is
also
it?
I mean, at the time it can be, but it ends up not being very fun if you're still working there. I mean, you know, it comes in waves. I mean, I think, you know, I'm sure at some of the places we used to work, there's talk of like glory days and like how things used to be.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like,
But I also think that's an evolving sliding scale. So no matter what, there's always going to be glory days in that spot for different people at different times.
I think so. Well, but I also still think if people remain at a place,
Anyone who's still there, who's like
they'll
been there for a long time.
the image of a past like time that was a little bit better or more interesting will look better as they get a little bit older and they're
Yeah.
still in that place because they get new people coming in. They're not, you know, in with all the old jokes. They're not in with all the old crew.
Yeah.
You're doing that, but you're still kind of thinking about how it used to be. And you're just like, huh,
Yeah.
that one time back in this one year, it was particularly popping and all our parties were popping and everybody knew each other and were doing everything like for 3 solid months. I'm not saying like a long time or like an age.
Well, it was, yeah,
but like a tiny little, like I think that
like a
was
window of everyone just getting along.
I think that was
really
Spinato's
meshing.
before I got there.
Yeah.
Like because I knew for a fact because the one dude was like,
I thought you were talking about
everything's
Tomato Head.
everything's great, right? Well, I'm saying it was probably that when we were there at Tomato Head.
Oh yeah.
So I think some of the people that are still there are probably, I wasn't trying to be all like, ha, ha, ha.
No, I didn't think you were being.
I was
like,
implying
arch or
without
anything.
directly saying it.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, like,
But I think, you know, yeah, because like those parties were like really popping and big. Everybody knew each other a lot. Like there was a little bit of intermingling between the downtown and, you know, other store. I don't know how it is now. I couldn't know. I would have to get a full lowdown from somebody who's still involved. But
I don't think most people that we know are involved, other than maybe one or two.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Everybody's kind of gone their own ways, but it is interesting because, like, you know, most of the people that we know
working at Barley's downtown.
At least for me, most of the people I know in that area, like, it's through some form of like being involved with the Tomato Head initially.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that just like, because that was my first job, and then that just turned into, you know, me then going to Knoxville.
Right.
That's the reason I went to Knoxville.
Well, and it wasn't
like,
a bad attraction of the crowd in Knoxville, to be honest. I mean,
no, it was the people that ended up in that place, and we ended up getting along.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, well, what I'm saying is that place was attracting a type.
Yeah.
And it was like a nice kind of alt crowd. And it's like some of them you got along with, some of them you didn't. But generally, it wasn't just like Tennessee people. That's kind of what it wasn't like.
Oh, yeah, because like I'm not a classic like
place.
Tennessean.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why you worked there.
Yeah.
You weren't working at Texas Roadhouse.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
That's why I started working there, because I was like, this place is weird and not a standard.
We found those like-minded people. And like, you know, like one of our first conversations was about music that most people didn't listen to in that area. So it was just like, all right, sweet. This dude's got interests that are not country music or, you know, classic rock or anything other than electronic for the most part. Because electronic really wasn't blowing up as much in Knoxville up until a few years after we met, because like that was about 2015, and like there were electronic shows there, and like, you know, it was definitely a thing, but it hadn't really started blowing up until then. The International became a thing, started having all those shows.
That's because they kept getting closed.
Oh yeah. You know, Big X would come through, but locally,
that club went through like 4 different versions of being a
Valerian, Blackstock,
yeah.
There's like one other one, I think.
Those are the only ones I remember.
Yeah.
And I remember my high school friend asking me if I wanted to go, and I was like, no, I'm high school.
Yeah.
Why would I want to go to that?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I wonder what would have happened. Would have been a little different.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know.
Probably would have tried some DRUGS.
Seems like when we went was at its best version. You know, like once they started, like when it became the International, like that's when I went there. My first show there was Minnesota with Zebler and Conti opening with Drew. It was like pretty empty at first when it started, but I think that's also because, like, you know, they were more underground artists at the time, especially Minnesota.
I remember what I saw there first. And I saw Spangle there, I think.
Nice.
That might have been. No, yeah, that was there for sure. He had his setup still. I think the Spongletron 3.
Nice. That's funny because like when I first saw that show with the Zebler and Conti, like they had their version of that, which was built by the same guy.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Just a weird fucking stage with a projection.
I mean, well, it's just funny that like both of our first shows at the same spot involved the technology built by the same.
Oh, for sure. Well, I was chasing his shows, playing that anyway. I saw like Infected Mushroom in the courtyard, and they had their like little balls that they were projecting on.
Yeah,
and that was super cool. And then somebody else who I will not be named after them, and I was like, I don't care about this person. The person I cared about already played, so that's fine. A good European artist with European sentiments that doesn't get canceled 3 years later, or 6 years later, or 25 years later. That's what I'm saying about the inaction is better than action. Some of these touring artists need to realize, like, if your options are go home and recuperate for the next show, or get some random tale in a random town with some scuzzball is going to ruin your career. And also you're going to ruin your own career because you can't keep it under control.
You got to control the tea. That's like the episode right here.
Yeah.
Control the tea, but maybe not the title. Yeah, like just... it is interesting because that's the thing that we've talked about multiple times, where it's just like I don't get that as an artist how you fall into that trap necessarily of partying and then like making illegal decisions, and it's just like, have you not worked hard enough to get there to that point where you've learned how to avoid making those types of mistakes?
Right.
And so, and granted, I've never experienced that, so I don't know exactly how that happens, but it makes me lucky and feel grateful that I've hit no sort of notoriety at this up to this point in my life, because I've learned a lot of things just by watching other people who seem to get there too quickly, or like who become powerful beyond the means of their will to like resist.
Yeah, just enabled and propped up.
Yeah, and like it's a confusing trap of life, and seems to be like available to everyone, but it's
I mean, I think
it's
just
seems
saying
difficult.
Illegal situations is a really like poignant way of like, this is what you're doing. You're putting yourself in an illegal situation. Just don't do that thing.
Yeah.
But then it's also like they like smoke a lot of weed in an illegal state for a lot of years.
Yeah,
but I know that's a different, entirely different
situation,
and that's where you need to get into the nuances of what
also
isn't permissible in those kinds of environments.
In the same note, I'd say know thyself and be aware of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
because
and be aware that there are consequences for everything you do, whether or not you see them coming.
Right.
Like that's ultimately that's life right there.
Right.
Dealing with consequences of your actions. That's the Matrix. That's
choice.
That's choice. The problem is choice, y'all.
The problem is they choose to get some random strange instead of just hiring a hooker. We're a pro sex work podcast over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want you to do whatever you need to do to get that paper, especially it involves taking it from people who are too horny. Just do it. Take their tea money.
Take their tea money. That's pretty good. I like that. That's a good title. Take their tea money. Excellent.
Nice.
I was trying to think of something else to go along the lines of that thought, but I don't know. That's such a good revelation. Right? Sorry. What are you talking about? I got so caught up watching The Matrix and all that. So, yeah. So, pro sex work, right. I mean,
make
just
the money, get out there, do the thing.
But also, don't do stuff you don't want to. Don't do stuff you don't want to do. Also, like value yourself.
No, I was saying if you're like an artist on the road or whatever, like it seems to be more fortuitous to just maybe like pay for something that involves like an actual transaction. I know you don't want to be transactional because you're an artist and your whole career is transactional, but cover your ass a little bit.
I mean, here's my argument that agrees with that is just if you're touring and you've got money, it seems like you could probably then afford it. So
Right.
pay for an escort.
Right. Do something.
Right? or here's the thing. Just
I know there's
jerk off.
I was going to say, I know there's a website for massage parlors that do the thing.
Yeah.
I found it once, and there's a bunch in this town.
Yeah, but again,
I'm just so curious. Aren't you curious? At least a little bit.
What about like the experience or what? What do you mean?
Just being like,
Yeah, I'm sure it's great.
massage.
I'm also not going to pay for.
Now we're getting some extra
like,
fun. Yeah, man, what a great massage that was.
I just don't feel like the allure does not outweigh the idea of like paying money for it for me. I'm just
Sure.
Now
You're just paying for a massage. That's extra long for your not so extra long piece.
You don't know shit. That's funny. But no, now if I could afford it and it was something that I also see, that's the thing too. It's like knowing if it is more or less illegal, like say where we live, that's not something I would want to be caught doing illegally.
I don't know about Phoenix laws.
Say here's the thing, like smoking weed illegally in a state where it's not legal, I'd be more okay getting caught doing that illegally than I would paying for sex illegally.
The one
especially
time you go
because there are places where you can go and pay for it legally.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like that for me is just one of my personal preferences.
Save up like a 30-year salary for Vegas trips.
I wouldn't want to illegally like pay somebody to have sex with me or do something. But at the same time, I wouldn't be opposed to doing it if I was in a legal situation for it.
That's implied.
Yeah.
I guess the massage parlors aren't implied.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's I don't think strictly
that's
a
just a
legal
massage
situation.
That's all it says on
try
your
to use
receipt.
The semantics court
That's
guy.
all it says on your receipt. That's all you went in there for, and that's all you left with.
Just doesn't appeal to me.
It's a deep tissue massage, and by deep tissue, I mean the tissues of your balls.
I'd much rather just jerk off. Like you have to drive there. Or I guess some places try to like. I have been approached by I think bots that have advertised stuff like for services like that, where they've been like, "We come to you." So, lol, they come to you when you come to them.
Yeah, exactly.
But
come to you and then you come for them. It's a process. 2 steps.
But that's the thing. They're taking your cum and your money.
They're not taking
two things. They're taking it.
They're pulling it off.
They're extracting
their little gloves.
It's like paying someone to come mine some resources and then just dump them on the ground or throw them in a furnace. Sorry, I'm so resource minded. Been playing so much Starfield.
You're not. You're not getting out diamonds or fucking making a steak. You're just emptying your balls.
You're just trying to get rid of some of that tea.
Which is a service, which you should pay for. What's going on?
So it's like a Phoenix tea party,
right? It's like it's a distillery, or I don't think they call putting tea in
distillery
water distilling it.
What?
What do you do when you're putting
dilute?
Yeah, no.
What?
You put tea in water.
Steep. You steep it.
I guess steeping is what.
No, that's what it is. You steep tea.
Yeah. I don't know. I forget now what the word I was looking for. But
tea.
Yeah. You're steeping your balls across these massage parlors. You're only, they're helping you out.
I really like Phoenix Tea Party for the title.
I don't hate that either. That's pretty good.
We're at about an hour.
That's the episode, everybody. Had a good time.
Yeah, this has been a good one. Thanks for listening. I am Aaron Howell.
I'm Nathan Goodman.
Yeah, thanks again.
Episode 12 of the Hackurate podcast. See you next time.
See ya. Bye.